Hello and welcome to Moja Sports. My name is Coach Idris Hamoud. With me today is Mr. Barnaba Korir, Athletics Kenya Youth Development Committee Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Korir, to the program.
Thank you, Idris. Thank you for inviting me for this session. I hope everything is going to be elaborated on, especially when it comes to Athletes Kenya and the athletes.
Yeah, thank you. I would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and the role of the Youth Development Committee that you chair. What do you do? Where are you in the country? Can you just tell us a little bit about it, please?
Thank you, Idris. As you have indicated, my name is Barnaba Korir. First and foremost, I'm the chairman of Athletes Kenya Nairobi region, or Nairobi chapter. I am also a member of the Executive Board for Athletes Kenya, in charge of youth development, means the director of youth developments and other programs for the Athletes Kenya. And also, I'm a board member for National Olympic Committee. When the elections was done, I was selected as a board member for National Olympic Committee. In Athletes Kenya, we have several committees which handles different sectors of the federation. And one of them is the subcommittee for youth development programs, which I'm the person who is chairing that committee. We have other committees like coaches committee. We have in Athletes Kenya also for masters. We have mountain running and several others. So in a nutshell, the federation is well equipped to address the issues of different sectors of athletics programs. In our subcommittee, we have 9 members whom I chair. The subcommittee does the works of recruitment of young athletes, youth development across the country. We work very closely with the Ministry of Education. That is the basic and higher education. We coordinate. We have also a memorandum of understanding between the ministry and also Athletes Kenya when it comes to coordination of the development of youths. Basically, most of the athletes that we deal with are either in primary school or secondary schools. Those who have graduated to the senior ranks after 18 years, they join also the services, the uniform services, or any other institution that is recruiting those athletes. So we have proper coordination, understanding with sectors of the society, community, where athletics is concerned, and we do our best to make sure that the young athletes are taken care of, and as they grow, we guide them also to go to school, to go to universities, and eventually when they are successful, they can also join the services. That is in a summary what we do at Athletes Kenya.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like you to ask you a little bit about the success of the youth development program in Kenya, because it's the foundation of athletics in Kenya. Kenya is a world powerhouse in athletics, and the foundation of that is the youth development. Can you tell us about the success, how successful it is, and what you guys do, to keep that success going?
Yes, of course, Idris. Every success has to be done properly so that there is always a transition between the youth and the seniors. For Kenya to have done so well, it is because of the structures that has been put in place that emanates from the grassroots all the way to national. And of course, the other sectors like the Ministry of Education, like primary schools and secondary schools, that we work together. It is because of that coordination and the structure that has been put in place for so many years that makes at least Kenya very successful. That is, we have, I'm sure maybe many people don't understand that the structures for AK starts from the counties, sub-counties, then it comes to counties. We have the regions. Basically, the region is to bring together the sub-counties that are diverse. They put them together so that we have a competitive regions. From the regions, we have the nationals, and each structure for at least Kenya has got its own officials that have been elected by their areas, by their people, by the athletes, by the officials that also manage the athletes. So the structure emanates from sub-county all the way to the nationals. And that is why you find that most of the time, Athletes Kenya has done very well. In Athletes Kenya also, we have put proper structures that allows the preparation, coordination, and also ensuring that the athletes have an opportunity to compete. Wherever they are training, we have what we call weekend meetings. That goes around the year. We have the cross country, starts in October. Then after that, we have the indoor and we have the outdoor. And in all, at least Kenya ensure that their competitions so that when the athletes are training, they have an opportunity now to test what they have done. And that structure has been very, very efficient. And it goes all the way to the national championship. And that is what has made AK different than any other federations in this country. And that's why there is a lot of success from our athletes. Athletics Kenya also coordinates with the Ministry of Education, that is the basic, the primary school, and the higher education, that is secondary school. When they have their competition, which is completely independent of AK, we coordinate with them so that we follow that their programs, calendar of events, does not conflict with our Athletics Kenyan calendar of events, so that it merges at the Senate, so that during their nationals and the AK nationals, then they can have also competitions among the institutions, like now primary Kenya primary school sports, and then Kenya secondary school sports also. When they are competing, they can also have what we call triangular. Now between the national athletes that have been selected, and then also the athletes that has been selected by the primary schools and the secondary schools. So that's at the apex. Then we have now the triangular of the events that has been the champions that have been done by these institutions. They compete together, and then it produces now the best. So it gives a chance now for athletes to develop, to grow, and then they can now diverse to other institutions. Others go to higher education. I mean, they go to maybe universities, others go to colleges, and others now can go to these institutions like ADF, Kenya National Police Service, and also Kenya Prison Service. So the structures are completely on, and that is why when we nurture the talent, we work very closely with the institutions that have these athletes also. We have those who have finished high school. We continue assisting them in a way that also they can grow and also get the opportunity to compete outside. The target always for the athletes is either to go to be employed, to go to universities, or to go and compete outside the country.
Okay, thank you. We have had recently, I did speak to a number of coaches recently, and they have talked about AK has given us youth camps in various parts of the country. Could you elaborate a little bit about these youth camps? And then, is it something that is long lasting? Will these camps be there come next year or the following year? Or these were just temporary camps that are going to close?
You asked that question. When Kenya was preparing for the World Under 18, starting from 2017, 2018, we as a federation thought the best way, because we are going to have these events in this country, we had to prepare very well. And what was the motivation for that? We wanted to make sure that we have the best athletes that can represent this country. How are we to achieve that? and to give opportunity to every athlete across the country, because this is an event that was funded by the government, supported by the taxpayers' money, and we wanted to give each and every region an opportunity to prepare their own children so that they can compete during the under-18. And we sat as a committee with the blessings of the President of Athletics Kenya, identified the areas where we can set up the camps. We invited all the chairmen from all the regions and the counties to come and formulate a plan where they can have their own athletes within their region, funded by the government, in preparation for the World Under-18. We had 21 camps across the country in every region, at least, especially those regions which have low number of athletes. We gave at least one camp. Those areas that that has high concentration of athletes, we gave them 2 or 3, and we made sure that every region was covered, including Northeastern was also covered. We had a camp there in Northeastern. We had also in Durgana. We had in Coast, a place called Gijiwetenga, in Malindi, all the way to Mount Elgon and Kisumu. When we went to Nyanza Springs, we focused mainly on the Springs, and we put 2 camps in Nyanza North, 3 camps in Nyanza South. So you can see, we developed that, and we say, okay, let us see the outcome of this. The funds that the government gave us, we distributed according to the number of artists that were there, and also the necessities that they have. The equipment that we received also support from Nike and the other well-wishers, we distributed to those artists also. And then, of course, the LOC from Walanda 18 gave us some support, and we encourage our athletes, they trained, and eventually we encourage them to do the selections for those camps, so that those athletes that have been selected, they can now come for the trials. When we did that, we realized that the results was very good. We got athletes from practically almost every region, something which had never happened before. So we say that now we have to talk to the government to see, after the World Under-18, this program has to continue for the future so that our athletes can also benefit. Not long before that, we were given to organize the World Under-20, which was done, of course, last year. And definitely we followed the same format, and we increased the camps now to 26, so that we capture more athletes from different areas. And the interest was really amazing. I mean, that was really, really amazing. And we gave the report to the government, and they saw the results. When we did the championship last year, you saw the results for yourself. We won. We even managed to have athletes like walking a race, like Wanyonyi, and the others who might not have competed already. It is as a result of that persistence in going to the areas that nobody else has ever gone before, giving them the opportunity, encouraging them, and showing them that yes, they have the capacity to do well like the others. So in a nutshell, we managed to win the World Championship. It was a very difficult moment because of the COVID-19. We also continued the support of the government to give these athletes food and shelter when during the COVID-19. And it continued. It was a major sacrifice for the committee members and those officials from Athletics Kenya to make sure that our dream of winning the championship was successful. When we have done that, we are sitting now. In fact, we have produced a booklet summarizing each and every camp, the results, the number of artists who were there, the cost that we used when we were there, the outcome of that camp. And now we are presenting to the government so that this program will continue into the future. It is not going to end. We have already talked to the government. In fact, His Excellency, the President, after the championship, they say, yes, we have to prepare these young athletes now for 2024. And he insisted that these athletes who have already participated should be able to compete in 2024. And that is why they continue now supporting. And we make a budget, we present it to the ministry, and if they approve, and then it can continue now. The camps will continue until 2024. You remember I went to Marseille, France. I took to France there, and we managed to get support that Marseille city agreed to cast the athletes, the sprinters, the 11 of them, plus 3 coaches, to make sure that they train there, they get also the experience, they get also the equipment, the infrastructure that we don't have here. And the only thing that the government, which of course the minister for sports actually managed to purchase the tickets for them to go there, and then some allowances, but then the accommodation was provided by the city of Marseille. As a result of that, we saw the infrastructure they have is amazing. Not only do they have the equipment and the stadiums for athletics, they have also for other federations. And that is why now the president of National Olympic Committee went with this team 2 weeks ago to France to discuss the possibility now of having the Kenya team from National Olympic Committee to prepare for 2024 in Paris. The only problem that we have in this country is that the lack of foresight in preparation for an event. Other countries have already started maybe 3 years ago for Paris. We always wait until 6 months remaining. And sometimes I always say, even when you give money, 6 months remaining, it is not going to have any value because the athletes requires maybe a minimum of 3 years to prepare and to compete at that level, not only in athletics, but other federations. But I can see that attitude is changing, and it is an attitude that has affected us Kenyans because we don't see the way other people see. We have the talent. We are very lucky that the others can do, they have their own motivation, they do their own things, they try their best, and they do well with minimum support. With that kind of minimum support, then you should be grateful that is they do on their own. However, it is also the mindset that we have to change as a country, because how we view the athletes also should completely change. Because the public, when you don't win the steeplejays, they assume that it's right, that they should have won that thing. But then when you ask the same person, because I see some people writing also so much, you ask one of them and say, okay, tell me, what contribution as a person or as a country has done in ensuring that athlete has done, has prepared well, so that when you are demanding for the results, then you know the input is there. Then the kind of input you have given to the athlete so that you can demand the results. So we need to change, we need to change how we think, not only even the government, even our people need to change. Because I discovered it is one thing. I've been reading those social media writing. I am also fortunate that I was out of this country for many years. I was in the US, I studied at the university level there. I was also lucky to have been in England. I am very lucky that I stayed in Italy and I speak Italian very well. I was in Europe, France, I was in almost everywhere. So I understand how we see things. But what's the thing that I have seen here is people, and you can agree with me, is that they write so much about athletics, but when you go deep, I can assure you, they don't understand, they know nothing about athletics. It's the most unfortunate thing. You just read at the upper level, but when you go deep, they really don't understand. That's why I always say, do research before you say anything, so that when you ask something, you have an idea of what you are talking about. The only thing that we have is, we as a substance level, we say what you think you want to say. But then in the end, it also damages and affects also the same athletes you are saying that you are defending or supporting.
Yeah, thank you for that long explanation. Tomorrow is trial for the under-20, Kenya's under-20 trial tomorrow. What preparation have you put in place, or how prepared are you guys for the trial?
Well, tomorrow, Idris, is that last week we divided regions into 2 categories. The first regions they did theirs last week, that now comprises of Central Rift, North Rift, South Rift, and others. Tomorrow we have also the trials for, this is called the pre-trial. It is not yet the trial.
Okay.
So this is the pre-trial. This pre-trial now is to select the team. We are sieving. Now we are getting the best for the nationals, so that only the best will compete during the nationals, so that we have the athletes that have already qualified or almost qualifying to compete at national level, to reduce also the numbers, because if we bring everybody on board, without the pre-trial, you will have maybe 1,000 athletes, and then it will give us an issue. So we want now the counties, the regions to compete, to select their teams, and then during the trials, for the selection of the team for Cali, then we have really talented athletes that can also make the team. I was impressed last week when I saw Central Rift selecting their team. Yes, they are very good athletes, strong athletes. We have also from North Rift, they have done theirs, and then South Rift, that is the bedrock of these athletes. And I was happy because the selection they have done is perfect. We want average of 30 from every region, and then those athletes that participated during the World Under 20 and they're still qualified will automatically be invited, and they're still qualified as per age. Then they can actually come automatically without going through that process. So that is exactly what we want to do. And when we have now the trials for Cali, that will be on the 1st and the 2nd of July, we want to have a strong team that will defend the title that we have won 2 times consecutively. That was in Tampere, Finland, and then Nairobi. Now we are going to defend in Cali. 2016, I was in Cali also. We were number 2 for under 18. We were second position after US. So when sometimes I don't understand some things. When somebody says, or some people say, AK is doing bad, that is not being done, are not running well. But if you see when you are number 1, so where does anybody want us to go? If you are number 1, which other number 1 do you have to know that you are doing well? If you are number 2 in the senior categories, where else can you go other than being good? So sometimes, to be honest with ourselves, we should really appreciate the success that we have had. We were number 1 in Mauritius. We won. And then you see, sometimes you twist things to suit your own thinking. Because when you are number 1, and then you don't even want to congratulate the team that has done so well, then how do I explain that? Then it means that actually you are not even proud of yourself.
Yeah, I think we should congratulate.
So those are the things that we have to look into and really try to understand what is in it.
Yeah, I think
what else can you do, Idris?
Yes.
After winning, what are you expected again?
Well, winning is a winning. If you win, you deserve congratulations.
Yes.
And enumerations for the athletes and everything else, recognition.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
that come along with winning. Winning is winning. Now,
yep.
If I take you back, I still want to stick into this junior section. Kenya won the last edition of the World Under 20 in Nairobi. I did a research and went back and analyzed Kenya's performance in that particular event. If you look at it, for example, in the 100 meters, we had one guy, Simiyu, who was running, men. There was no lady in the 100 meters, and she didn't get to nowhere. In the 200 meters, we had Jonathan Wambua and Luis Mora. They were all knocked out in the early stage. In the 400 meters, we had one athlete, Kennedy. We had one athlete, Kennedy Simiyu, who was in the final. And looking at the field events, there weren't many Kenyans in this particular field. And these youngsters are the ones who will feed into the senior team. What have you learned during that championships? Have you changed anything so that in the next edition, we have a Kenyan doing the high hurdles, the 110 hurdles, the triple jump, long jump? Have you learned anything from those editions moving forward?
We learned that long before that. Even during preparation for the Olympics, I was a general team manager. And when the camps were open, they wanted only those athletes or federations that have qualified for the Olympics. Since I was a general team manager, I insisted that we have to have the sprinters in Kasarani with the other teams who have not qualified in preparation so that they can also qualify. They agreed. Despite a lot of resistance, they agreed. And we had a team. The reason why we wanted that is because we are behind in sprints. We want to find a way of building also the sprinters. And the problem that we face is that the infrastructure or the equipment for the sprinters are not available. They're not enough. If they're available, they're not enough. We don't even have proper or up-to-date starting blocks. The charms, pole we don't have, which athletes can use, can train. We lack also, probably we don't have qualified coaches to deal, especially with the Hamas and these guys and the others. So we have to refocus. Other than the long distance, we have to come back and look at inward and see what is it that we are missing in this. And looking back, we have had great athletes that have done so well in sprints, 400 meters, 200 meters, 100 meters. They have done great. So where did we go wrong? It is because of the infrastructure which is not there. The stadiums are not there. The gyms are not there. It's very, if it is there, it is very expensive. But you see, if you look at those infrastructure, it is completely beyond at least Kenya. At least Kenya cannot build a stadium. AK cannot build the gyms, simply because what people do not understand, which I want to make, and you can also tell others,
Yeah.
is that at least Kenya does not get a penny from the government for development, not a single penny. We don't get, it is zero, you understand. And I've told some of the guys who know my right was, instead of talking, just go and verify. It is simple. The only money that is being used for development and for running all the programs for year all round is from Nike and maybe some little money from other sponsors. The only time the government comes on board is when it comes now to supporting a team, just paying tickets and allowances. They don't go beyond that. Tickets and allowance, that's directly with the athlete, benefits the athlete, which is the tickets, and then also now the allowances. Any other thing belongs to Atlas Kenya. So it is impossible to say Atlas Kenya can build a stadium or even buy equipment which are extremely expensive. So when the events like Well Under 20 is held in Kenya, then we have now those equipment that will be left here is what we are using now, like electronic timing machine. It's an advantage for us because it remains here. When we have now like hurdles, we get an opportunity also because here. Starting blocks is here. So we need to take care of those ones. Other than that, there is nothing. So people should understand, should be taught that, the people talk about, the millions of people talk about unless can you having it. I can give you calculations and say, okay, how much does the salaries go for the running of the office? How many employees are there? The salaries, the amount of money given to the region so that they can organize events. Some of them, they have to go into their own pockets. I can tell you for Nairobi, if I get, for example, now some money from AK, you get 200,000 per year. What do you want to do with that? You have to organize events. You have to have an office and everything. So if you don't go as an individual now, disadvantage in Nairobi is because I am with the national office, so I cannot go and ask money from other companies because already maybe they're supporting the national office. So that is not what you are in I-24. So I'm, in fact, when you sit and try to analyze the whole thing, it is lucky that AK has been doing well. Because the most unfortunate thing in this country is they are equating when an athlete wins Boston Marathon or wins New York or London. It's an assumption even from the public that the money is going to AK. AK does not even get even a single penny. And the others can tell that. Athletes come to AK, they get their letters, they go to New York, they run, they win the marathon, and they go to their own places. Zero. Someone who does not understand athletics thinks that there's a percentage that comes to AK. It does not come to AK even a penny. So let us put everything in perspective proper perspective so that we can support athletics in this country, but to avoid and reduce this negativism that that comes all the time. Because the people who are working in AK, you sacrifice a lot. To organize all this,
Yes.
it is a major sacrifice. That sometimes you look at it and say, okay, what am I doing here? You see, somebody who is criticizing you sitting there is taking care of his things at home, can't come over here to come and work, and yet they have the temerity
Just to criticize
to
in the comfort
criticize.
of the house.
Yeah, they are sitting there, maybe taking care of their children and everything. You are dying here, walking around the here, you don't even go home so that this thing can work. You see, that is where the problem in this country is. And sometimes you say, okay, we just leave at that.
Yeah, thank you. Now we are going to move to the next topic. Dear viewers, if there's anyone who has a question regarding what we have discussed so far regarding the junior athletes, Mr. Barnaba is with us here, who is Athletics Kenya Youth Development Committee Chairman. So if you have any question regarding youth development in Kenya, you can just call up and put the question to him. So the next part that we want to move to is the selection, which is coming up next weekend. This is the World Championship and Commonwealth Games selection. I know we had, like, in the last Olympics, there were athletes who qualified and yet they couldn't go. And, you know, there were a lot of controversies here and there. What are the selection criteria for the Commonwealth and the World Championship, so that athletes know even before they're invited or before they come to these competitions? What are the selection criteria that the selectors have put in place?
Interesting. I think this matter, I don't want to comment much, but it is going to be very complicated. It is even going to be tougher than last time. What we have to understand, which again, you are a member of WhatsApp group, I always see, is there's so much ignorance, complete ignorance about the IU rules and all athletics. The rules that emanates from World Athletics is not made by Kenya. We are a member of World Athletics, like other countries, and we abide by their rules. If you don't want to abide by the rules, they will always tell you to go home. It is not about the Kenya government. It is not about anything. It is about the rules that has been set up by the World Athletics body to ensure that fair play is applied in athletics. And people who might have heard, or those who read about Russia, is if you look at it now, Russia is still in the cold. Russia is a superpower like any other country, but they have not come. They've been kicked out. So we have been very lucky. We need to abide by the rules, and those countries that have tested positive, that has too many athletes who have tested positive, they developed the Rule 15, and that Rule 15 you have to go by it. That Rule 15 gives guidance on how your athletes will participate during the national competitions, especially World Championship and the Olympics. And the rules that is governing us now is completely stringent, and it is different now. One, when we go for the championship now, which is coming, and I'm sure that I've been sitting down the whole day today with the other committee members, trying to brainstorm on how we are going to approach it, and the rules will come up. But the simple thing which you have already been told, you must have met the qualification standards for, first of all, World Championship. You must have gone through obligatory 3 tests within the period which is stipulated, the last 10 months stipulated. You must have gone through 2 education sessions for that one. And then, of course,
anti-doping education.
Education.
Yeah.
Those are the mandatory now. Apart from now, which is AK, that you have to be at least the top 2 to make it. So you have to put together those rules. And the athletes, which we are going to release soon, who have met those conditions, will be shocked. You will see. I know there will be a lot of hula but there is absolutely nothing that the federation can do other than what they have already done. So we go back again and the issue of ADAC. ADAC was established by the government specifically to look into the issue of doping. You remember 2016, we were not going to go to Rio. And the president of Kenya had to follow it until they were told to set up this ADAC, the institution to test. Yes, it was established, it is there. It has its own mandate, it has its own regulations, and it's an independent body. And that is the only body that is able to test the athletes, to follow the athletes, to collect the samples. They do their job. Nothing to do with AK. You can't do anything. So because of that, now the rule 15, we are in category A, we are at the borderline. We have to make sure that we follow those rules. And we have been in contact with them. And they say, if need be, if necessary, you can even take 10 athletes to World Championship for all that they care, as long as we meet the standards. But then look back again. How many athletes test positive? Practically every day. So what happens? Where are we on that? Problem also in this country. The major problem here, we don't talk about it. Instead of discussing and say these are evil, we try to defend ourselves to say, oh, you know, people are against us. No, people are not against us, let me tell you. We are against ourselves. You know, tell me. I mean, if you go and test and or you take whatever you took, how do you say people are against you? You mean all these numbers are just against us, and why are they against us? So we have not faced the truth. We have not looked at our face and say, who are we? We have not actually tried to eradicate this thing because we don't talk about it. We don't fight it. We don't say enough is enough. So then we try to talk about it in Facebook, all those things. That will not get us anywhere. It will not. We better follow this rule. We better do exactly what they're saying to do. Otherwise, you'll be shocked that we are out on one of these days if we are not careful.
Yeah, the selection criteria, qualification standards, we have to, number one, the athletes have to meet the qualification standard that has been set. Then number two, obligatory 3 tests, anti-doping tests. Number 3, 2 anti-doping education. And then finally, which has been put by the AK, you have to finish top 2 in the trial.
Yep.
Thank you. Now, is there a chance that some of our welcome, some of our top athletes will miss out on these trials, on these trials, and not to represent the country in either the World Championships or the Commonwealth because of one of these rules?
I want to believe it is that our athletes, especially the elite, understands the rules and regulations that they must follow. So they should understand. I also want to understand that when they are preparing, they focus on the championship because they want to win, they want to do well. Barring any other misfortune, I don't want to believe that they're going to miss. Of course, there's always a disadvantage. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you feel bad. And that is why we always have to have the last call for the technical official to decide based on the performance of the top athletes, just as a security, as an insurance, in case somebody like Faith might have a bad day, and we know that that is our only hope. So what do we do? That is why it is there. It is a technical matter that people should understand that is important. It is not like whatever you call them, the assumptions and whatever. But with good faith, or in good faith, the federation or the government or the country wants the best to represent the country, because this is not an individual event, it's a country event. So we also want, as a federation, through our president, to make sure that we pick the best athletes to represent the country. Of course, everybody are right to go there. We're not saying that, but in most cases, when a wild card is used, 90% of the time has been very successful. And we can name those who have benefited from that. So those are the rules. It is going to be sent immediately. We are still working on other modalities. We could have already released the names, but it has to wait a little bit because of some other modalities. We are going through that. But we hope that people can understand, because even if we don't understand, then there's nothing much you can do.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have two major championships, the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games, and we are having one trial. So are we picking one team, or we are picking two separate teams, one for the World Championships, one for the Commonwealth, or the same athletes who have competed at the World Championships will come down for the Commonwealth, or the other way around?
The essence of having one competition is after discussion with National Olympic Committee and AK. They are the ones who decided we have a joint competition. It's because they wanted to have the best. Not say that we go now and say number 1, number 2, number 3 goes to World Championship, and then number 4, number 5 goes to Commonwealth. Then it means that we are underrating the Commonwealth, and they refused. So they say they have to have the team that goes to Oregon will have to go to Commonwealth. And of course, the number of athletes that will go to World Championship and the Commonwealth will differ slightly, because the events that will qualify only for Commonwealth and those one World Championship. So there's a small change there, but basically it's going to be the same team.
The same teams at the World Championships are going to compete at the Commonwealth.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But clarification is that, there are events, like events that might not have qualified for World Championship, but are qualified for Commonwealth. So they'll go to Commonwealth.
Yeah, I know.
There's an hybrid, a mixture.
The standards are a little bit different.
Yes.
Are athletes being given preference? Will an athlete be given preference? I mean, I'm talking from my own perspective. Sometimes, for example, in UK, they will send out a letter to athletes and say, which event will you like, which championships will you like to participate in? Do you want to go to World Championships, Commonwealth, or European Champion? Which is your preference? And sometimes an athlete will choose, or I want to just stick with European Championships. So are you giving athletes a room to choose whether they want to go to the Commonwealth or the World Championships?
In the first instance is we are telling the athletes to consider, that they should be running in both, so they know.
Okay.
In the event that an athlete really feels that they cannot run in both, or they are not running in common, then of course nobody can be forced to do that. It is just a matter of now discussing with them and telling them this is very important for you, for the country, so you sacrifice also. But in the event that you are not feeling good and or whatever, then definitely you cannot be forced to.
Yeah, thank you. Are you doing trials for field events? Will there be trial for field events?
It goes back to what I was explaining.
Yeah.
For example, javelin. I give you an example. Javelin. To qualify for World Championship, maybe one athlete has qualified, maybe not. You see. Now, for an athlete to come to compete, you must have met all the conditions, the basic conditions, and that is one of them is qualification.
Yeah.
So if javelin now is only one athlete that's qualified, and you cannot qualify the same day during competition, so what is the purpose of having that event? You get the point?
Yeah, I mean, Isaac Kirwa, went to the Commonwealth. I mean,
Julius
African
Kirwa.
Championships. Yeah,
Julius Kirwa.
yeah. And is he going to be given a chance? Him and all the other athletes who are on the fringes. I mean, sometimes athletes want to look back and say, I went to the championships, I finished 7th, or I didn't jump the required distance, but I'm going to work for the next championships. Will they be given, just the chance to come for the qualifiers?
Reflect to last year at Young.
Yeah.
You saw the uproar, the comments and everything, what people were saying. They were saying,
Etiang,
if
yes.
you knew that this guy is not qualified, why did you bring him? You saw that.
Yes.
Everyone was saying, why did you bring him? So you cannot do the same thing by inviting somebody who was not qualified. And if they qualify, what do? And they have not met the other conditions. They come and participate. They have not been tested,
Yeah.
They have not undergone through all the doping rules. And then when you say, no, you are not going, and then they will tell you, why did you invite me? And you knew. Tell me, what do?
Well, we'll go back to last year's during Olympics.
Yes.
Saga
so
again.
basically, the best way for success is to stick to the rules that has been set. Whichever way you look at it, stick to those rules. You will save everybody. You save the athletes. You save the embarrassment from all athletics. So stick to that so that we don't bring someone who has not met the conditions. They come and win. They qualify. They have not been tested twice or 3 times, and they cannot go. The blame comes back to AK. So let us, as long as we have told the athletes before, this is the only way we can survive. There is no other way.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Are you taking a relay team, a full relay team, and give the relay teams a chance to qualify for next year's World Relays?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And the thing is that the federation is really focused on ensuring that we do very well in sprints now. It is going to transform athletics in this country by ensuring that sprints, wheel events, and long distance go together. That way, it gives us even more chances to beat the wall, having some few medals from the sprints and then the wheel events. So I think that is the best way we are focusing now.
Yeah, thank you. Now, moving to the final part of our interview. I mean, this was regarding the anti-doping. I wanted to give the anti-doping thing just some time so that we can have a little bit time discussing it. What are the risks of anti-doping rule violation for Kenya as a nation before we talk about individual athletes? If athletes keep violating the anti-doping rules, what are the consequences for Kenya as a nation?
I know you normally read and do research, and I'm sure that you have read Rule 15.
Yes.
And you know the anti-doping rules, and maybe if I have to respond, is for those who comment without really understanding.
Yeah, sure, yes.
The consequences are completely severe. And the way world athletics operates is not the same way the governments operate. It is totally different. When they have set up the rules, you cannot change those rules unless they change and then they tell you to follow. So the rules they have set up, we have to follow because there's no other way. And then athletes also, by not us condemning this menace, we are also risking everybody else, not only athletes, the country, even ourselves. Because after all, we know they have any business when the whole thing is bad. We are at the age. We were hoping that it would be cleared last year after working so hard to make sure that we have done everything that the AIU had asked. But then there's still these issues of, today, tomorrow, you hear the names, is this suspension and everything. So even if they want to clear us, and they're saying, but why is this? We are hoping that it's going down. Why is it going up? You see? So we are not out of the woods completely. We are not out of the woods. And I would like to have Kenyans, because the Rule 15 is open. You can read it. Those who may not understand can get somebody to read for them so that they can understand. It is not a joke. It's a very serious matter.
Yeah. Do our athletes understand the severity of this issue? Do they really understand that
Your answer is as good as mine, because the
Kenya as
federation
a
has done.
nation, we are on the edge, and if they keep playing about, we might be banned for years. Do they understand how serious this is?
I want to say this. Majority of them understand the severity of it. At the same time, some choose to look at the other side, simply for selfish reasons, survival. You ask yourself sometimes, why would people do this? Why are they doing that? It goes to a bigger problem. A bigger problem, which this is my own reasoning, is you find an athlete that has got potential to run, even to make little money and survive. But why, what makes someone do that? So you look at the economic situation we are in, the economic problems that the country is facing, the humble beginnings most of us come from. So somebody will look at it and say, yes, really what happens? What do I do? I am between a rock and a hard place. What do I do? So that probably explains why this thing is continuing. However, this is a situation that the Federation has tried its best to provide education, to assist. But then negligence is there. I don't know whether it is intentional or not. I can't say that because I don't know. But there is something that is not right. And it cuts across.
Yeah.
Even the people who are not running, even the people who comment in this Facebook and everything, you see they have a problem. Either they don't understand, they don't care, or just they do it the way Kenyans do things. Just they don't care and break the law, they do whatever they want to do. That is what happens, and that thing is very dangerous for us.
Yeah, I think for the fairness of the sports, we must condemn, this issue of, doping. It is unfair to everybody. And as clean sports advisor, I mean, it's something, I'm totally against athletes who dope. Yeah. Thank you for your time. Is there anything else you want to share with us today before I go on to another small topic, or I could exhaust everything and then I'll give you an opportunity to comment.
I can say something.
Yeah.
The way I see, I've been in this sport for a while.
Yes.
I've learned the good things and the bad things. And having an opportunity to have gone to school also has given me an open mind to see
Yes.
things in a different way. I want to wish my colleagues, especially from the Rift Valley, to really have an open mind and see things the way other people see. If you analyze, I'm sorry to say this, if you analyze all those WhatsApp groups and everything and compare to the others, there is something missing in our group. There is a lack of understanding. And the only thing that we do is just to look at everything in a negative manner. Even the good, you still pick something negative to say about it. You don't appreciate the good things in life. You only condemn, you find a way of condemning even the best. How do you explain that? I think it is either cultural or whatever, because I am in almost all the WhatsApp groups, but I can pinpoint where the problem is. Because sometimes you see somebody writing things and you realize this person does not mean well. Even
Yes.
the street, they still want to make it crooked. So you look at it and say, okay, if this is the thinking of everybody else, or the majority of the people are thinking this way, they are not going to go anywhere. Otherwise, we will kill the sport. We will not appreciate what you are doing, We will not support our own athletes. And we find at every point, it is always good to hold on before you condemn anything. Find the truth first. Make sure you know exactly the points, the truth about it before attacking or condemning anybody. Because that is where the problem in athletics is. Eventually, it will find negativity. And if you see what was happening in Italy, we lost quite a number of athletes there.
Yes.
Also, because of those things. How does it reach that level? To the extent that somebody loses their life because of such things. So you see there's a problem. Only thing is we don't really accept the fact that there is a problem. But also we look at the other side. When you see bad things happening, you look at the other side. You really don't want to say, hey, this is wrong. You glorify the wrong things. You glorify the bad things, but you don't glorify the good things by finding ways and means of ensuring that anything that is negative should be removed. Anything negative, you should make it look right. Don't make what is right to be wrong. And I'm telling you, if you look at also the people who always try to make things wrong, you can look at their background also, that they are also wrong. They might not be right. And that is why if we open up athletics to the extent it is now, we might not go far.
Yeah, thank you. Well, sometimes people criticize to improve a situation, and sometimes there's malice and people who are jealousy, they don't feel good about what someone else is doing. The negativity, I mean, we need to remove the negativity from the sports. If something is wrong, we say it's wrong, but we must not just see the bad in everything. Sometimes we have to highlight the good things. So this is why some of us, we are here. We want to bring the best of the sports. If something is not nice, okay, we'll comment about it, talk about it, but we want to bring out what is good about athletics, not only athletics in Kenya, but athletics in the whole world. If there is something good about it, we want to bring it out, but not just to criticize, sit somewhere and just talk bad about it. Now, every championships that we have in Kenya, I can't say, let me not say every, in some of the championships, there is always this issue of kit that comes up. In the last African championships that just went, there was an issue that some people raised with me, and I would like us to just have a look, so that I'm sure you have seen it, but I would like you just have a look at this and then comment to us, what is this all about, or what is the truth about it, what's happening?
I love it when we have champions. I love it when we're away from politics. I love it when we're celebrating our own, the best and the brightest. Right next to me, Caroline Nyaga, an unknown name up until recently. She went to Mauritius for the Africa Championships, entered the 5,000 meters, won bronze. Next day, did the 10,000, gold. Tell you what, she had no shoes.
Yeah, what came to my attention is I'm not criticizing an athlete, and that is not me. I wouldn't like to talk about an athlete. She has explained her situation in that video. If we watch it further up, she'll say how an athlete has loaned her shoes and stuff. This was a major African championship, and an athlete has arrived there without a pair of shoes. I mean, can you just give us a little bit of explanation, your understanding, or what happened here, or what was it all about?
You know, also, Idris, I think the reason why I even accepted to discuss with you is there is something painful about us. I was an athlete myself.
Yes.
I ran for many years, for more than 20 years myself.
Yes.
And I understand very well the issue when it comes to shoes and clothes and everything. When I started training, my brother was in the US those days. I used to run without shoes. I trained without shoes. We used to go compete without shoes those days. But there is something which is sometimes very dishonest about ourselves. You know, sometimes if you want to make a name, you can say something so that you can, you know, you have had an opportunity to go and compete. And I am not criticizing that. She's a hero. She has won very well.
Yes.
I'm not criticizing her.
Yeah.
I respect her for the work, the good work she did. Honestly, I can tell you, the clothes they wore, I was in the US. We ordered the equipment we brought to Nairobi and it was brought. In fact, the equipment, the tracksuit and everything arrived in Nairobi and they were given to the athletes. I was even coordinating when I was in the US with the people, the team managers and everyone was doing that. You know, we have different categories of events. We have the senior African championship, which is that one. We have the world championship and we have the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is dealt with National Olympic Committee. World championship is with AK. Senior African championship is with AK. So, assuming that a single athlete, I'm not talking about her, did not have the shoe, by whatever, that they didn't have the spikes. Definitely, the team management could have raised that issue. And no athlete could have gone to that championship if we did not have the shoes for Nike. We have a store that at least Kenya always buys. If by whatever chance the equipment from Nike has not arrived, they go and buy at the Nairobi Sports. We have a Nike store, so we buy from them. So there's no way an athlete can go there without a spike or without a shoe. We buy them. If they are not arrived, the trucks would have arrived and everything. So it could be possible that she had her own shoe. It could be possible because you can also tell me how was she training? Because they had to train in the track and with the coaches. So if there's a coach that saw this athlete running without the spike, then that is a problem. But there was nowhere it was raised that there is an athlete who does not have the shoe or the competition shoe. So it is not possible. However, I don't want to because I was not there.
Yeah.
I want to say that it is also high time that our own athletes, ourselves, those who retired, those who are still active, the officials, we should start talking the truth. We should not exaggerate issues that will make a sensation so that we can raise our profile. We should know that. And secondly, if the federation has taken you, and maybe for whatever reason they make a mistake, I think as a person, you should also appreciate the fact that yes, they have taken care of you, you have done well, and therefore it is not a right. It is a privilege. It is not a right that you have to be there. It's also a privilege. We have to remove this thing of saying it was my right. It is this my right. No, sometimes a privilege. And to be there for the country taking you there, then you should really appreciate that we as a team, we have done our best, despite the difficulties that we might have faced as a nation, we have done ABCD. But you see, to come out and say, yeah, I ran without the shoes and everything, to make an embarrassment of a situation that was very successful, I don't think it's right.
Well, she put that allegation on a national TV. I mean, I have nothing against the athlete. She put that particular allegation on a national TV, and I had a lot of people contact me, and especially when they realized that you are coming on my show. The only thing is, when the athletes were given, kit, they're given bags of kit or whatever it is, was there a provision for athletes' shoe for that particular championships, or they were just given kits with no shoe? Everybody had to run in their sponsor's shoe or provide their own shoes.
I want to tell you that there's always you know, you cannot go to a championship without the provision of the shoe. That's why I was telling you, if there was no shoe, they would have bought it. AK would have bought it if they have not received from Nike. And we make the returns also. And since 2016, we made it compulsory that any athlete that receives any item, even a socks, they have to sign, and then we sign for that one. So anybody who went there have a document that they signed. Even if you come to again now, that lady would have signed something that they took the t-shirt, 2 t-shirts, maybe a jacket, and that kind of thing. If they didn't have a shoe, they'll also indicate that they have a shoe. They didn't have a shoe, and if need be, they can also buy the shoe for them to go and run with that one. So those things are documented. There is no way an athlete will take even there's no way an athlete will pick an item there without signing. They have to sign nowadays because we know what happened in 2016. Athletes were given full kits here. When they went to Nike headquarters there, the same athletes say they have not received. So it forced everyone now to come and say, but honestly, how can you lie? You received this and this exactly. So now you sign for what you received. Absolutely, you have to sign for that. In Nike, you have to sign. If you receive a socks, you will sign for that socks. If you don't receive the shoe, it will show that you didn't receive the shoe. And then the reasons are given why you didn't get the shoe. Because the same returns has to be sent back to Nike.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I mean, I have a lot to ask, but I don't want to get out of the topic. I invited you with specific areas that I wanted to cover, and I would like just to stick, within that area. Unless there is something that you want to share with us or any information that you want to give out to most of our audience. Most of them are Kenyans. They follow our channel. They listen to us. If there's anything specific that you want to share with us, you are welcome. Take a minute or two, and
thanks, Ritus. I accept that to come to this show to talk to you, specifically to say a few things that are absolutely necessary for us. First of all, I know Kenyans, they love the sport, especially athletics. I would also want to ask them to be fair in their comments and also to really try to understand athletics. Because it happens that in my understanding, because I've been in this business for a long time, and I was being an athlete and everything, then you realize that even the Kenyans themselves, they don't even understand much about athletics. The only thing that they normally do, and they don't understand the situation the athletes go through, is how many medals did we win? Or we miss that one, why? So you categorize to a very narrow understanding of the sport. So let us all read about athletics. Let us understand how world athletics functions. Let us understand the roles AIU is playing. Let us understand about ADA. Let us understand what actually AK does, so that you don't even see somebody misses maybe something. The girlfriend runs away, they say it is AK who knows about it. So those are the things that we have to see. Let us understand athletics. Let us read about it. Let us participate. Let us come to the events when they're there so that you can really enjoy and really know the athletes that are competing. That way, when you make comments, you are making a comment from the experience point of view. So I think that is what I want to leave that to you. Let us educate we are not only educating the athletes, let us educate ourselves, the coaches, because there we are missing something.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Until we meet probably in another program when there are issues that we expect clarification or discussion on, I think we'll still invite you once in a while on your busy schedule. I'm very sorry I had to pull you out of a very busy program for yourself, but thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best. Good luck tomorrow, and then the other trials coming up. And I hope to see you guys in Birmingham when you come over.
We'll meet. You give me address, I'll find you.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Have a nice evening.
Same to you, sir. Thank you. Bye.